Welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. My friend Kieran's here today, and we're talking about the Street Fighter official movie fighter figures.
Yeah.
These aren't G.I. Joes.
No.
But they look just like them.
Yeah.
But these are the official movie figures.
And they are Hasbro.
They are Hasbro.
But they have 2 Street Fighter 2 points. I don't know what you can send away for those. I wonder if they worked as flag. Oh, some of these don't even have them actually. This one does.
Oh, only
Zangief does, and so does Ken.
But not the different
no
versions
Guiles.
of Guiles.
Yeah. And even though it's all just him in a T-shirt on the back,
Right.
But there are different ones, and these are Jean Claude Van Damme, each one of them, which is pretty cool. But they just kind of released like 8 different versions of them.
So in 1993. Hasbro got the license to Street Fighter. They made G.I. Joe versions of the Street Fighter guys. They were supposed to be based on the game. It was kind of loose. Then Street Fighter continued to blow up, and they made a live-action movie. And since Hasbro had the license, they made the movie toys.
Mm-hmm.
They took all the heads they had previously made. They took some of the bodies they were already using, but they also had, I guess, a little bigger budget, and they made some upgrades. So some of these guys are almost exactly like the original versions. Some of them are greatly improved, and then some of them are just weird cash-ins with the Jean Claude Van Damme head they made on other G.I. Joes.
I mean, because they have and the thing is, when you get this, you're gonna want this Jean Claude Van Damme. This is like the movie version,
right? He's in the blue tank top,
and he has the AN Allied Nations type camouflage. But then you got dark suit, whatever he is, I guess skydiving Guile. You have snow Guile that never happened in the movie because they were in Thailand. Or Shadaloo or whatever.
Yeah, right.
You have Life Preserver Guile who teaches you about boat safety, I guess. It's like none of this happened in the movie. I mean, he did get in a boat.
I'm going to get in that boat.
Yeah, I'm going to get in my boat. I'm going to go down river. But it's like, I mean, you have Bison who looks like Bison and everything. But it's like, why did they need to make 8 different versions of Guile? I mean, I understand why they needed to.
He was the star of the movie.
Yeah, but it's just none of these things happen. Like, there's so many things that they could have done, I guess. Like, they could have
done every character. Like, they didn't make Cammy. They didn't make T-Hawk. They actually show Ryu on the back of the package, but they never released the figure of it.
Oh, no way.
There was like a prototype, but it never came out.
That's...
So, we got several Guiles, we got a couple of Sagats, we got a couple of M. Bisons, and then we got repaints of Dalsim and E. Honda, and then we got some characters really got plussed up. Like the Chun-Li and the Blanca actually look like the video game counterparts.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at him. He actually has, the pants and everything.
Yeah, he has the ripped pants.
He has the chains
This
on
is
his
the
leg.
movie figure that the old original Street Fighter toy line one's down the farm where he's got boots and everything, which is ridiculous. Chun-Li actually has, her outfit with a cloth skirt piece to it and everything.
Ken also looks a lot cooler in that version.
Ken actually doesn't have the sleeves. He has bare feet. They really did plus up some of these guys. Take a look at Blanca here. The original figure was a new head on Road Pig's entire body, being very inaccurate to the video game because he doesn't have the fur on his chest. He wears long pants and boots. It worked, but not great. The updated figure is so much more video game accurate. The movie figure has a more teal skin color than green. His hair is a little bit brighter orange there, but he's got the shredded pants, he's got the shackles on his legs, and it's just an all-around cool figure. He does have an action feature built in, and it's interesting to note that he lost knee articulation. I'm wondering if that was to make the budget work, or because they wanted him to kind of squat as he stood, like he does in the video game. But they did drop his knee articulation. It is interesting to note that the movie Blanca more closely resembles the Championship Edition Blanca figure released with the Beast Blaster as part of the G.I. Joe Street Fighter line. The movie fighter Chun-Li is all new. They didn't even reuse her head from the previous release. This figure is so much more video game accurate with her actually wearing her outfit from the game, the spiked bracelets. She's even got a little cloth skirt piece here. She's got her tights. She's got her white boots. This figure is just really well put together and seems so much more like Chun-Li. I think that she had an action feature in this arm originally, but the spring inside my figure seems to be broken. Ken Masters got a nice update for the movie edition. Reusing the head from the Street Fighter version, no longer does he share parts with Ninja Force Storm Shadow. The official movie fighter, Ken Masters, looks much closer to the original video game character and came with an array of ninja weapons recycled from Ninja Force. But they did a lot of the same goofy stuff. They gave everybody lots of bladed weapons. They gave some guys guns and missile launchers. They repainted more G.I. Joe vehicles. The Snowcat was released with Sagat as a vehicle.
Yeah, which is just like, why? Sagat, I mean, I guess again, Sagat was like, I guess the Destro in the movie, kind of like he was the arms dealer or whatever. Yeah, but like, why give him a Snowcat? Like, they had vehicles that they could have went with. I mean, there were tanks in the movie. Like, you could have went with any other thing.
You could have gone with vehicles that closer match the movie.
Like, did they make the boat?
And I don't think so.
That's the thing. Like, they had that stealth boat. That it's a huge part of the movie.
And G.I. Joe has a speedboat.
Yeah,
that they could have just.
They could have used like the one that what's his name is in the. Copperhead, is it? He has that boat that he gets into.
They could have water moccasin.
The water moccasin.
But there's also the Piranha, which was like an end of the line kind of toy that they actually put in the Mortal Kombat line.
Oh, with Reptile.
Right, that would have actually been okay as Guile's boat.
Yeah, that would have made sense. I wonder why they didn't do that. I wonder too, like, I guess, because also, I guess the Mortal Kombat figures like these are not affiliated with G.I. Joe. They're not, like, they're their own line, made by Hasbro, but using G.I. Joe parts, but not G.I. Joe.
Now, did you have any of the movie figures as a kid?
Yeah, I had a few of them. I didn't have any of these Guiles. I had one that came in a 2-pack with Bison.
Okay.
And that Guile had it where he went like this or something. And he was wearing a black tank top instead of the one over here. I wanted this one, but he came in a pack by himself. And back then I was like, quantity over quality, I guess, back then. So I wanted to get more figures for less money. So I bought that. And then by the time I was able to go and get another one, they were all gone. They were in the 3 for $10 bin at KB Toys.
I never got a single one of the movie guys, but I looked at them all the time. I had a whole lot of the Joe line Street Fighter figures, and I don't know why. It was like just a year later. I guess I just wasn't playing with G.I. Joe as much, but I remember seeing them and thinking, they're so much better. Yeah. I remember staring at Blanca and Chun-Li and some of these other ones in the store going, like, those actually look pretty good, as opposed to the G.I. Joe ones that barely passed.
This Zangief over here is a completely different Zangief than the one that we were showing in the last one. And
he uses all of Road Pig's body parts except for the head. So he's actually basically Blanca from the Street Fighter line, the Blanca that's right in front there. Yeah. It's exactly that figure, just they swap the heads and fix the colors.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. Like,
basically, I think
even his boots are the same.
Yeah, I think because they made an all new Blanca body, they felt like they could give that Road Pig body to somebody else now, and finally Zangief got a burly big body.
Yeah, I mean, he looks way cooler. Is the face the same as the other one?
I think so. Okay. We don't have him out here.
But he does also have a rocket launcher. At least he doesn't have one of those trees that you have to snap everything off of. His weapons are ready. I don't have to tear them into pieces.
It would have been nice if they could have put the scars on as a paint app, just
that would be. That's the thing too. I don't understand. Maybe they didn't want to make him look too violent or something like that. But it's like
the Vega from this line actually has the snake tattoo on him. Actually has a removable mask.
Oh, that's cool.
But they made his arm this weird, shootout claw thing, almost like Spikor from He-Man. You know how, you twist his wrist and the trident comes out? So he's, 1,000 times better as far as looking like the video game figure, but then they gave him this really dumb, weird stiff arm gimmick.
Huh. That's just weird.
He's one of the ones I want to get just because he's so weird, but I just never see him anywhere.
Yeah, it's hard to find. That's the thing. I don't think I've seen any of these figures probably since I bought them at KB.
I don't know why they're so hard to find. If they were all clearance, you'd think they'd be all over the place.
Yeah, well, that's another thing, too. I mean, sometimes when figures go on clearance and stuff and no one's picking them up, they go back to a factory and get destroyed.
I mean, this Ken is literally priced down to $134.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. People, if they weren't picking them up, that's why, so many figures that are the Marvel line that they made for what was it? Wolverine Origins. When that movie came out, there was a Deadpool figure.
Yeah.
And it was the weird Deadpool with the huge claws.
Right.
That figure shot up in price because once they took him out, no one bought him, and that figure was super rare. And I had one, I sold it. I sold it for $35.
Wow.
Just the figure. It didn't come with anything.
Wow.
It was, it's these figures that, when you see a figure that's at a store, and there's tons of them racked up, pick up one of them, because chances are that figure is nobody picked it up, and it's going to be rare later on.
The official G.I. Joe version of Sagat was one of the best figures in that line as far as being video game accurate. His entire body was repainted twice, one with red shorts and released on cardback with a bunch of ridiculous accessories, and once in purple shorts, who was packaged with a vehicle. The main bad guy from Street Fighter, M. Bison, really did get a great upgrade for the movie. While they reused his head, everything else on him was retooled. The original M. Bison used a lot of parts from standard G.I. Joe figures. The new figure has all new parts. He has his cape, he has his silver shoulder pads, he even has glow-in-the-dark hands. The majority of the Street Fighter official movie fighter figures were closer to the video game character than the original G.I. Joe figures. Colonel Guile was the one figure where they went away from the video game to make him specifically look more like the movie. So here we have the G.I. Joe version of Guile, which is actually a pretty good likeness. He's got camo pants, he's got the tank top, he is missing the dog tags, but his head sculpt is really spot on for the video game. The movie version, while they did give him the dog tags, they went with a more movie-accurate version of his camo, having the Allied Nations blue with the paintball splatter-looking camo down below. And then they made a special Jean Claude Van Damme head. There was a blue version of Guile as well as a black version of Guile, and then his head would be reused a whole bunch of times to make additional Colonel Guile figures. So this is a loaded question, because I kind of already know the answer. But what is your memory of this movie coming out?
Oh my God! Honestly, I mean, it was the same way with the GI Joe figures, where Street Fighter GI Joes. Oh my God! What a whole I can't believe it. But when I heard there was a movie, I thought it was a joke. Like there were so many things that, like when X-Men versus Street Fighter came out, where some kid tells you on the playground, and you're like, no way, you're lying to me. Like Street Fighter the movie, they're not doing that. And when I remember the commercial, and it was Guile doing his whole speech about the, like, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me, and everybody cheers, and I was just like, that's Guile, and I didn't know who he was, like Jean Claude Van Damme, I'd never heard of before the movie. Okay. This was my introduction to Jean Claude Van Damme and all that stuff, and I remember too, like thinking like, oh, Bison is Gomez Adams, right, the entire time, but. It's, as a lot of people know, it's my favorite movie of all time. I actually brought some things with me, I guess, this time. So I have, first off, I have my VHS copy, which is my original one that I've had ever since I was a kid.
It's amazing you haven't worn it out yet.
Yeah, from the grocery store in Midlothian, Virginia. I don't even know. But I got this. My dad bought me this when I was a kid. I have also the Extreme Edition DVD. I don't want to get so much glare, but this thing. So this thing has really funny special features. Okay. One of which being the toy commercials. Oh yeah. For these toys, and also being like it has a whole bunch of photographs of the toys, and they're awful. It's like it's just pictures of like how they had those crazy backdrops that they would film the commercials on, like some alley, and there's GI Joes everywhere, and it's like Chun-Li with a rocket launcher and Ryu with a giant machine gun and stuff like that, and it's like why do they have these and stuff? But this is a really funny DVD. It's filled with special features, and they're all hilarious. And then I have my Steelbook Blu-ray right here, which doesn't have the Blu-ray in it. It has something even more special. Oh. So I'm going to give you an offer for all of your figures right now. Okay?
It's an offer I can't refuse.
I'm going to offer you $100 Bison dollars. Whoa. For all of your figures.
That sounds like a good value.
I mean, it's worth each Bison... Every Bison dollar will be worth 5 British pounds once Bison kidnaps the Queen of England.
Absolutely.
So if you think about it, this is like worth 500 pounds.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, that's a ton. That's a lot of damn money. Darn money. Darn money. Darn money. That's a lot of darn money.
So I remember seeing the Street Fighter movie with my friends when we were kids. I literally got my braces the day before and couldn't eat popcorn in the theater because my teeth hurt. Oh. And I remember watching the trailer for Richie Rich beforehand. And this kid with us, this kid Eric, goes, Macaulay Culkin's going to hit puberty and we're never going to see him again. And that was like the last movie he was in for the longest time.
Yeah, it was actually Richie Rich, and then
he just sort of dropped out. For a while.
I mean, until he hung out with us. I guess, for a minute. I mean, he did movies and stuff, but
he's been in things. But it was just funny that was like the breaking off point. Yeah. This kid called it while we were watching Street Fighter.
I honestly, I used to watch the movie constantly. The figures were like the thing was when they were on clearance. That's when I got into the movie because I didn't see the movie in theaters. Okay. I wasn't allowed to. It was too violent. So I got my dad to buy me it on tape. Probably in like 1995 or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe like, yeah, it was probably like a year after it came out. So all these figures were on clearance. So by then I had already had the movie committed to memory. So when I saw these, I was like, I freaked out and I had to pick them up. Because they were, you know, if you guys remember KB Toys, you know, depending on how old some of the viewers are, used to do bargain bins. And they used to have 2 for $5 and 3 for $10. So I would, you know, do my chores and get my allowance or whatever, and then I would get $10 a week, and I would buy a bunch of action figures each week. And these were all in the 3 for $10, so I used to just try to pick up whatever I could. But I could only get that one double pack.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was also into the Sergeant Savage figures at the time, so that was the other. They were
Joe was going in a new direction at that point.
Yeah, exactly. If you get to that one, call me up, because I'd like to talk about those sometime too. I had the tape.
Nice.
So,
banking on the popularity of Jean Claude Van Damme and the main character of the movie, Colonel Guile, Hasbro stuck their new Jean Claude Van Damme Guile head on multiple repaints of older G.I. Joe figures to create special versions of Guile. I do not have a Rock Trooper Guile to show you, but Navy SEAL Guile. He comes with a mix match of parts from various G.I. Joe scuba diver figures, as well as an Echo Warrior's water squirting backpack. Paratrooper Guile. I think this guy comes with the best accessories, including a working parachute, which we'd recently seen in the G.I. Joe Sky Patrol line. Night Fighter Guile. This figure reused a body from a Snake Eyes figure and came with Snake Eyes' sword and gun, as well as a real working bow and arrow that could shoot. I bet that was reused from another toy line. My least favorite of these figures is Arctic Assault Guile. My real problem with this figure is not that it's an Arctic version. I think that actually works pretty well. It's the really bad accessories. He comes with the Arctic Bazooka Blast that really shoots, but it doesn't come with a spring-loaded missile for it. He's got a set of skis, which are great. He's got Deep Six's scuba diver backpack and Deep Six's buoy with no cord to attach them. And what does an Arctic guy need with a scuba diver's equipment?
But yeah, this was Street Fighter the movie is like one of my favorite. I still watch the movie.
It's a lot of fun.
It's just a fun movie, and it just it's the one it's when I was a kid I just on repeat constantly had this movie going, had my action figures, and I would just like have them fighting each other all the time.
I definitely think it's a better line than the actual G.I. Joe Street Fighter figures. They're just hard to come by, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, having figures of the G.I. Joe... I mean, I used to pretend some of my figures were G.I. Joe. I mean, not G.I. Joe, Street Fighters before that. I mean, I had the Batman that had the belt that would come out, and I would pretend that was a sonic boom.
Okay.
Like he was Guile. Yeah. Like just use your imagination.
Right.
And, so I would do that all the time, but to actually have Street Fighters... And they are the Street Fighters. They're not, other action figures that I repurpose into Street Fighter figures. This was one of the coolest things ever. You don't understand nowadays when you can go to Walmart or Target and buy a figure of Ryu or any Street Fighter character, because now they have those ones too that are like the He-Man figures and stuff.
Yeah.
And
the Savage World.
Yeah, you can get those anywhere, and it's like back then you couldn't.
And now they just make toy lines for most. If it's a popular video game, there's a toy line.
Oh yeah,
I mean all the Fortnite stuff that's out. In stores right now.
It's you didn't have Street Fighter. You didn't have video game toys. You never thought Street Fighter was. I never in my life thought Street Fighter would ever become anywhere mainstream that I would see toys of it sold in any store. So to see these was mind blowing as a kid. Again, I mean I've said it before, but. Yeah, I loved these. These were great.
All right, thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos.